Hello ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming back to another randomised gaming video. In this video, which is kind of a follow on from our previous Bare Knuckle 3 videos, or known as Streets of Rage 3 in the West, I'm actually be taking a look at the debug cheat code that allows you to actually play the removed motorbike stages from the game. Now, these were quite widely known about as they appeared in early screenshots of certain magazines, and they never materialised in the final game. They are actually in the final cartridges. However, from what I understand, the Streets of Rage 3 version is slightly less finished than the one seen here in Bare Knuckle 3. Now, you can't access these stages via a normal button input code. You do need a cheat device like the Game Genie or an action replay. In my case, I will be using a Game Genie to showcase these levels. And there's certainly an interesting diversion from the standard Streets of Rage or Bare Knuckle stages, and it would have been nice if they had actually been finished and added into the game properly. Streets of Rage 3 itself actually has a number of cut sections, notably stage 6, the previous stage where you have to rescue the general, actually originally was clearly intended to be much larger. However, much of the stage was actually cut out or removed in the final release. Why Sega chose to do this, we'll never know unless a member of the development team can give us more detail or insight into the matter, although with the game being over 25 years old now, I suspect many of the team will be like, yeah, we can't remember that. Now, the bike stages would have been an interesting inclusion, and I suspect these vehicle stages may have been inspired by Cadillac and Dinosaurs, the Capcom arcade game. The reason I mention this is actually a number of similarities between Cadillac and Dinosaurs and Streets of Rage 3. There's a few uncanny similarities, notably such as the movement, such as the left and right and up and down runs you have in Cadillac and Dinosaurs, and you get something similar in Streets of Rage 3 with a left and right run and an up and down roll. There's also the fact in Cadillac and Dinosaurs you have the whole enslavement of dinosaurs, and they show that in Streets of Rage 3 with the fact Rue is enslaved by the tamer. So there's a few subtleties like that when I actually had a quick look on Cadillac and Dinosaurs, I just thought, yeah, there's some similarities here. And definitely I think the Cadillac driving stages may well have been the inspiration for the motorbike stages. However, without a member of the development team confirming for sure, these are just speculations on my part. But there's definitely some clear similarities here. Now, I think one of the interesting facts is these stages, they clearly intended to have some sort of combat in them. And I think that was probably going to be one of the more problematic issues. So there's actually two stages. One stage is driving to the island and one stage is driving to the town hall or the White House, pending which version of the game you're playing. So the stage where you drive to the town hall or the White House, pending which version of the game you're playing, certainly it seems to be purely a dodge or evasion stage, as basically you have a guy in a truck in front of you hurling barrels at you and you just have to avoid them until he crashes the truck. And it's actually quite a short stage, I have to admit, in comparison to the one where you travel to the island. And the one where you're travelling to Mr. X's secret base or the island basically has you going up against rival bikers. Now, I think they were supposed to be able to fight them as you were driving around this one, but by the looks of it, they would have had to have implemented up and down attacks, and that may have been one of the reasons why they didn't do this stage. This one's a lot more unfinished as you only have the rough layout of the enemy bikers. Both these stages were intended to be inserted into whichever version of the final world you were getting, so they're listed as Stage 7A Scene 1 and Stage 7B Scene 1, one going to City Hall, one going to Secret Base, depending on not whether you save the general in round 6 or stage 6, depending which version you're playing again. Both of these stages are fairly buggy, I should note, so the character graphics are not present where they should be in the ROM image. As a result, they appear as corrupted in-game, and as a result I have to hold up or down on the D-pad, otherwise it tries to show those corrupted sprites and then it just all goes very slowly. The correct sprites are actually in the cartridge, but they're at a different location and the game doesn't draw them. But even if you just watch this stage, basically I'm holding down up or down, you'll notice both stages do look slightly incomplete. They look like they needed probably a month or two's work on to finish. There's certainly elements of them that needed revising. I think one of the reasons the bikes didn't necessarily work compared to why it works in Cadillac and Dinosaurs is Cadillac and Dinosaurs, you've got a massive Cadillac that you're just crashing through everything, and I think they probably should have done something similar if they wanted to do a driving stage in Streets of Rage 3, which is like a bonus stage where you crashed through all the enemies. They didn't. They tried to do bikes, and because bikes you can't really crash through enemies because it would have looked unrealistic, I think that presents a slight problem. There is, however, a really nice Easter egg in the Mr. X's hidden base or island drive. If you pay attention to all the various signposts whizzing by in the background, one of them does include Sonic the Hedgehog on it. They're definitely worth having a play with if you do have a Game Genie or Action Replay. So the Game Genie code that I use, as shown in the description text here, is GT3TAAGW, and I'll also show that at the start of the video. As I mentioned, both these levels are clearly work in progress. I think the island stage is too long. It goes on for about 4 or 5 minutes. And there is some slowdown. Again, you won't see the character sprite. As I mentioned, I have to hold down up or down, so it doesn't show the corrupted version. While I'm moving, it then doesn't show your sprite at all. But you'll get a feel for the stage and be able to look at the alignment of how the enemies were supposed to come and attack you and how they look. Overall, they're quite nice stages. I wish they'd actually been finished, but for whatever reason, they were taken out. So I'm going to wrap this up now. I have been your host for this commentating side of the video, Random Gamer Riven. I'll be just showing it chronological order now. As I've said everything I need to about these sections, I'll just let you watch them out as they are with me not commentating over, and you can draw your own conclusions. You think of them. Would you have liked to seen them in game, or do you agree with the fact they were cut or removed? My suspicion is I think they probably needed a month or two's work more, and I suspect they were intended to be included, but they just didn't have enough time to finish them when Sega decided they wanted the game to come out. Because Streets of Rage 3 or Bare Knuckles 3 released in '94, and I suspect Sega were probably moving on to Saturn development at this point internally. But do let us know what you think of these motorbike sections, and of course, as always, if you enjoyed the video, please do hit that like button. It really does help us in the rankings, etc. And also, if you enjoy our content on the channel, please do consider subscribing to Randomized Gaming. That's it from me. I've been your host for this commentated part of the video, Random Gamer Riven. I'll just let these two sections play out. We'll do the island drive first, and then we'll do the town hall drive. I do hope you enjoy these look at these cut sections of the game. They're certainly interesting, and if you do have a Game Genie, I recommend at least the once doing it. I should note you have to actually turn off the code on the Action Replay after selecting the stage you want to play, else otherwise it throws you continually in an endless loop into the debug menu. So basically what you do is you go to the debug menu, turn off the code, select your stage, and after it's thrown you back to the option screen and you go through and select your character again, it will then take you to the stage you'd previously selected.